Final, final, final.
Ever since I was a little kid, I have loved radio. I remember getting one of those FM car transmitters that allowed you to play your music over a radio station in the car, and that was the coolest thing to me. I joined a student radio club at university where I learned radio etiquette and how to put together a proper show, even though it is only an internet stream for the time being. But lately I have been taking to the airwaves and looking into the deeper, darker side of radio. Specifically, one station that I found to be intriguing and troubling. A station that consistently beams its transmissions toward the United States. A station seemingly meant for only those who can decode it. It has been given the name HM01. Now, if you don't know much about the mechanics of radio, that's fine. I'm going to give a crash course on the radio spectrum and the mechanics of radio as told by someone who isn't an expert themselves. Now, the radio spectrum is as follows. This diagram looks like a lot, but really it's not that hard to understand. From 3 kHz to 30 kHz is the very low frequency band, used mainly for submarine traffic and radio communications. From 30 kHz to 300 kHz is the long wave band. Radio-controlled clocks will actually receive long-wave radio signals and synchronize themselves accordingly to adjust their time. From 300 kHz to 3 MHz is the medium wave band, most commonly recognized as the AM broadcast band. A popular station here in Ohio is 1.1 MHz or WTAM 1100. From 3 MHz to 30 MHz is the high frequency band, or more commonly known as the shortwave band. This is the band that we are going to be focusing on. And just for reference, the 30 MHz to 300 MHz is the very high frequency band, more commonly known as the FM broadcast band. A popular station here in Ohio is 96.5 MHz or KISS FM. So from this diagram, you can see that the shortwave band is sandwiched between the AM and FM broadcast bands. Now, let's talk about propagation. Propagation is a big word that just refers to how a radio wave travels. So, in the AM broadcast band, the radio waves mainly travel along the ground. This allows them to follow the curvature of the Earth, and depending on the transmitter's power, allows them to travel for a few hundred miles in good broadcast conditions. I remember being able to hear WTAM 1100 in Chicago on a summer night when conditions were good. However, the FM band does not behave this way. If you've ever gone on a road trip while listening to an FM station, you know that you get about 60 miles worth of coverage before the station drops out completely. This is because the waves travel directly in a line of sight transmission. This is why FM broadcast towers are hundreds of feet tall. The taller the tower, the farther the beam can travel before it gets obstructed by the curvature of the Earth. And this is the really cool part about shortwave. It doesn't travel along the ground like AM, and it doesn't travel line of sight like FM. Instead, the radio beams bounce off the ionosphere and the surface of the Earth repeatedly, allowing the signal to travel around the entire globe in the right conditions. On good nights, it's possible to receive transmissions from Asia and Europe in North America. The shortwave radio spectrum isn't used as widely as it once was thanks to the internet, but you can still receive plenty of international programming if you know their schedules. There are, of course, amateur radio bands where licensed operators can legally communicate with each other through voice, Morse code, or other digital modes. And then there are odd transmissions. Some of these are radio beacons, high-powered transmitters that only send out a repeated sound that allow you to gauge how good broadcasting conditions are at any given time. But be looking in the right place at the right time, and you might find a station that only broadcasts seemingly random strings of numbers in a computerized voice. 315. These are the number stations, and they are used for espionage, government agencies communicating with their agents in the field. The closest thing we have to proof that these stations are the work of spy networks comes from Jack Barsky, an ex-KGB spy now living in Pennsylvania. He explains that every night he would receive a radiogram from Russia giving him useful information on what to do next.
Every Thursday night at 9:15, Barsky would tune into a shortwave radio at his apartment in Queens and listen for a transmission he believed came from Cuba.
All the messages were encrypted, that they became digits. And the digits would be sent over as in groups of 5. And sometimes it took a good hour to just write it all down, and then another 3 hours to decipher.
In the 1990s, Akin Fernandez began recording these number stations and compiled them into an album known as the Conant Project. Most of the stations in the project are now off-air, having served their purpose in the Cold War, but today there are still new stations popping up, and the internet has made finding them extremely easy. Priam.org is a website dedicated to finding the schedules of certain stations and posting them for the public, as well as providing links to internet radios where you can listen to them in real time. And this is where I discovered the station HM01. Now let's talk about the setup of a standard number station. Seconds before the broadcast, you will hear only static. Then, all of a sudden, you will hear what is known as the call sign of the station, its identifier. Usually, for most number stations, it's a 3-number group that is repeated many times before the message. Then, after a few seconds, it broadcasts the message identifier. This is usually also 3 numbers. Then the station will tell you how many numbers are in each group. In this case, it's 5. Then the actual message starts. Then the station will eventually sign off. This is the case for most number stations nowadays. Some of them broadcast in Morse code or other digitally encrypted modes, but HM01 combines both into an interesting hybrid alternative. First, this
I hear it in the background. She's watching it too, saying, and this is where you're going to see you next week.
I've never seen that before.
I have.
Station broadcast starting at the 57th minute of certain daytime hours, transmitting groups of 5 numbers in Spanish.
6, 5, 4, 0, 7, 3, 1, 3, 8, 3, 6, 6, 8, 6, 5, 1, 1, 5, 10, 1, 3.
According to a radio operator in Brazil, call sign PY4ZBZ, the transmission is a repeated sequence of 8 groups of 6 5-digit numbers. Here's what that looks like on screen. And then after several minutes, things get weird. A piercing digital tone can be heard for several seconds. Then one more 5-digit number and one more digital tone. This lasts for over half an hour and is repeated at the 57th minute of the following hour. What the f*** am I listening to? Well, we all know the numbers mean something. They are all different, but they repeat in patterns, so it's safe to say they designate what the message is for, who it's from, or what it's about. Now, the digital tones are actually data, and if you're wondering if it can be decoded, the answer is yes. Sort of. The data is encoded in a program called digtrx, and it converts text and images into tones that can be sent over the airwaves and decoded back into the original files. So let's try and run it with HM01 and see what we get. Even the decoded messages are still encrypted text files. When exploring it with a hex editor, we can see that there is indeed a pattern, but there's no possible way to ever figure out what these messages mean. So is all hope lost? These messages all use one-time pads, one of the most efficient and foolproof ways to encode and decode a message. You start with a block of randomized text, like this one here, brought to us by the wonderful people at Learning Self-Reliance. Definitely go check them out. Then you have your message, for an example. Let's just use the name Jimmy Smith. And finally, you have your cipher chart, which is just a grid of A to Z and 0 to 9 on the X and Y axis. Now we're going to set this up like an addition problem. Yay, math. Find the first letter of your message on the Y axis, then find the first letter of the one-time pad on the X axis. That point where they intersect is your encrypted letter or character. There are numbers I wrote the script on. Do this with each letter and your message is encrypted and ready to send over shortwave to spies overseas. To decrypt your message, find the encrypted letter on the Y-axis and your one-time pad letter on the X-axis. The intersecting letter is your decrypted character, in this case, J. So are these one-time pads actually used? Well, according to the Washington Post, in 1988, 3 were found in a bar of hollowed-out soap when a Czech spy, posing as an art dealer in London, was caught by authorities as he sat in his apartment and transcribed a message sent via shortwave. This is very real, and considering this Cuban station is beamed directly at the United States is even more concerning. But we shouldn't be too concerned because a lot of these stations started popping up after World War II, so they aren't anything new. They've just been going on without us really realizing it. Espionage is going to happen even when countries are at peace with one another. You just have to hope that the messages aren't giving instructions to partake in any devastating activities. I hope this video inspired you to at least check out the dying medium that shortwave radio is. At some point, communication via the internet will go down, whether it be from natural disaster or cyber attack, and surely it will be restored at some point. But shortwave radio is something that is so simple and so easy to use that it will be the saving method of communication whenever disaster strikes. I have included links in the description where you can poke around the shortwave spectrum online or buy a portable radio yourself. Also, thanks for watching this non-abandoned related video. I wanted to produce more content on stuff that interests me, but don't worry, there's plenty of Urbex coming because it's something that I really enjoy and I'm not going to stop. So, thanks for watching, guys.
Hey guys, I'm currently editing this thing, and something cool happened a couple of days ago. Luckily I realized it, so I could put it in this video. But it was the 2018 field day for the American Radio Relay League, and basically it's a period of 24 hours where all amateur radio operators who want to participate can get on air, and you just try to contact as many other people as possible. And it's just like this big international contest. I went to my local radio club, who was stationed at Whips Ledges. It's the highest point in the county that I live in. And they had like 5 or 6 different antennas, a couple different radios, and they were camping out 24 hours. And I'm not sure how many contacts we got. We didn't get as many as the years prior. But I made a few contacts, and it was a lot of fun. So if you guys want to learn about getting your amateur radio license, I included a link in the description. And here's the video and pictures from Field Day 2018. Thanks, guys.
Meet Steve Markle, professional trick shot artist. Hey there.
Hey.
He's going to use pool shots to demonstrate how the Lincoln Copilot 360 technology works in the new Lincoln Nautilus. Lane keeping system uses a camera to monitor road lane markings and provide feedback to help the driver stay within the intended lane.
That's cool.
If an accident should occur, the Nautilus can slow itself down to lessen a potential secondary impact. If the Nautilus detects a collision is imminent, it will aid the driver when they steer around the vehicle. Let's pretend this cue ball is the Nautilus. The cross-traffic alert system notifies you of approaching vehicles as you slowly back out of a parking space. Nice shot.
Thanks.
The vehicle can also use the camera to scan the road ahead. If it senses a collision with another vehicle, it'll warn you, then automatically apply the brakes if you don't respond. The Nautilus gives you peace of mind, too. It can help scan for a suitable parking space and guide you in once you've found one.
Nice.
Right? Thanks for the demo, Mr. Markle.
Steve's just fine.
Gotcha. Good night, Steve.
With Cox, staying in is so in. Great Wi-Fi means you can dim the lights, lock the doors, adjust the thermostat, and find the perfect show. Staying in is the new going out. Introducing the Stay In bundle with internet streaming and home life.
Man, I miss the Cold War.
No, said nobody ever.
No, there was something, you felt alive when you were worried about.
No, you felt scared and alone because the world was going to end at any moment.
The modern road intercepts the signal.
I can't remember the first time I heard of a number station, but I was fascinated by the idea the moment I heard it.
Oh yeah, I actually found one. I was about 11 years old. I said, let's go to the place where none of the songs are, but all of the weird noises live.
Oh, of course, because you had those giant 1980s jam boxes with shortwave radio on there.
Yes, I thought, is this the launch codes? Because I was watching War Games.
Of course,
Dagger,
right?
you know.
So if I understand correctly, shortwave number stations are one-way communications to field operatives out there doing espionage stuff all over the world. The idea is you send a message that the whole world can hear, but there's only one person that it's impactful for.
That's the prevalent theory. Now, no government has ever even acknowledged that they are in any way affiliated with any number stations. They started to appear after World War II, and they were all over the place. There are still many of them that are active. You can find some of them from Cuba, Korea, what used to be the Eastern Bloc in Europe.
Wow.
All over the world, they're still active. How they work, according to an alleged ex-CIA operative. An operative out in the field will have a one-time pad or an OTP.
All right, so a one-time pad is a set of pages with random numbers on there that there's only one copy of, or I guess two copies of. The sender and the receiver have one.
Exactly.
And they know that this is we're on page 53, we're gonna do it, and I'm gonna encode it with this pad, you have that pad, nobody else in the world knows. Now we're gonna tear up those pads and they're gone.
Right, because shortwave radio, anyone can pick it up.
Sure.
Even the bad guys, but they won't know what they're listening to.
Well, dude, I wanna hear some of this. Where can we find out where the number stations are?
We have a shortwave radio.
Okay, all right, I assume that somewhere on the website, the internet.
Yes. One of the more prevalent ones is HF Underground Spy Numbers Forum.
Look at this, look at all this activity just in the last few days.
They're a little difficult to decipher when you're first looking at it, but a lot of these number stations have designations like E11A.
Or S11A.
And then you have like your date. Now UTC is
Universal Time Code, right?
Exactly.
So these are people logging the times of the messages and recording the messages and sharing them for the purpose of trying to decode them, or maybe this is just a hobbyist, like a cool curiosity?
It's a little bit of both. Everyone always hopes that they're going to be able to decode it or something like that,
Yeah.
but I think rational people understand the futility of that exercise.
Sure, let's find something to find on the shortwave radio.
Okay.
So here's a log that says unknown CW number station.
Oh, that's FM.
I got excited.
We got
for a
one.
second.
Like, you know, now that the Cold War's over, they're just having a good time with this.
They're still celebrating 30 years later.
Exactly. The wall came down. So one of the things about the number stations is that they are always broadcast at regular intervals. Like there's one out of Cuba that broadcasts on 4 different frequencies. It'll do one, and then 5 minutes later, it'll do the next one.
The exact same message.
Yeah. And then it won't do it again for another 2 hours or another 4 hours. And it only does it on Tuesdays and Thursdays, or only on Wednesday mornings at 6 a.m. UTC, that kind of thing.
Got it.
They're very regular schedules because the spy has to know exactly when it's coming on.
And if he or she misses the one opportunity, he has to know where he can go to get it in the next, 4 or 5 opportunities.
Exactly. It's a little difficult to find one. Plus, there are atmospheric conditions because the way shortwave radio works, it broadcasts from between 1.6 megahertz and 30 megahertz.
Yeah.
Right above the medium wave AM band. You can actually bounce these off of the ionosphere through something called skip propagation if you aim it at the sky when it transmits, and it can go, depending on atmospheric conditions, to the other side of the world.
Wow.
So someone in, say, Spain might be able to pick up something that's broadcast out of Japan, but we may or may not be able to hear it.
So that's the problem, is all of this is super iffy, and this is what, like a $20, $30 shortwave radio?
Yeah, any shortwave radio will do. You can even build these yourself.
Well, let's see if we can tune something in on the shortwave.
Okay, we'll start over on the first band, way down at the end of it, at 5.7.
This is like the worst white noise app ever.
Yeah. So I gotta be honest, it's gonna be very difficult to catch something on this. We don't know exactly the frequency, we don't know what time. It's a poor antenna, imprecise controls. This could be an exercise in futility.
I can't help you with the time, but I can help you with the precision, the controls, and the antenna. There is an online, totally free, super precise, high quality shortwave radio available to everyone.
Okay, let's see it.
Beep, beep. This is a shortwave radio anybody can use through their web browser, sponsored by the University of Twente in the Netherlands, and it is freaking amazing. Check this out. This waterfall shows you the entire spectrum of what's being transmitted all over the world right now. So here, let me, So right now we're dialed into kind of nothing, but you can see there's lots of activity down here. So here, I'll just click down here, and it's tuning in, and then check this out. You can zoom in, and it gives you can see all those different bands right there?
Oh, wow.
Those are individual transmissions from, we'll call them legitimate sources, right?
And it's so easy to use because you can even put in the frequency.
Sure. So this is Radio 1 Umbria in Madrid.
This is a transmitter that was lowered into the deepest well in Siberia where they could listen to the sounds of hell.
Yeah. So some of these you have like TalkSport and so on, but you can actually intercept data transmissions over shortwave radio. So right now, all of these fine lines indicate these are discrete stations transmitting nonstop. These are like CNNs of radio, basically, right? But check this out. If we go to the less populated parts of the spectrum, the stuff where stuff is a little more sporadic, like let's jump all the way up to some of this area. So here we go. In this case, we had something that was transmitting, but then it stopped, and now it's starting again. So when we tune in over here, we don't know what that is. Something is transmitting and then stopping. So listen to this, and I bet you recognize it.
Is that a slow scan television transmission?
Yeah, this is data being transmitted over shortwave radio right now. It's astonishing. Just poking around in this thing has been a blast. It's like a black hole. I could spend all day just...
This really helps you visualize all of the secret world that is all around us all the time.
Well, and so much of the spectrum is being used at all times. That's the part that blows me away. So haunting.
Is this when you start getting into the EVP frequencies where you can hear ghosts?
This tool alone is its own amazing wonderland. I would love for people to post in the comments anything of interest that we should check out on the shortwave band.
Yes, there's probably so many cryptic, weird, and fascinating bits of information.
So as you tune into stuff, you hear the tones change based on your frequency. It sounds as though they're broadcasting those as beacons to let you know you're getting real close to the actual transmission.
Ah, so we're very much dilettantes. There are people who dedicate their entire lives to understanding every little nuance to all of this.
Dude, I'm gonna dedicate the rest of my day to understanding what a dilettante is. Oh, that's the other thing. You can set how specific you want the tuning to be, whether it's kind of wideband.
So if you narrow in on it, it's going to get more clearer and distinct.
As long as it's a precise signal that you're receiving,
Sure.
yeah. So weird. Oh my God, it's like you're tuning in an alien transmission.
I feel like my nose is about to start bleeding.
Across shortwave, you've got legitimate broadcast stations doing content of all varieties, whether it's talk or music or propaganda. You've got these slow scan television little data pulses going out. And if you're very lucky, the right place at the right time, you could run across a number station. What do they actually sound like?
If you go back to the HF Underground Spy Numbers forum,
sure,
you can find where they've archived them, because a lot of people will regularly listen to stations because they have the schedule, they know what frequency and when they're going to broadcast.
Got it.
And they'll wait and listen, and then they'll record what they hear, document it, and post it up on SoundCloud or YouTube.
In fact, the most recent post here has an archive.
This is an archive of S11A. And sometimes it's not even numbers, sometimes it's nursery rhymes or weird phrases. Like in the movie Red Dawn, when they're out in the woods and you hear them say,
"The chair is against the wall."
Exactly.
The chair is against the wall.
Now let's find out what S11A is.
Oh, look at this, at priom.org. S11A is called Cherta. It's got several frequencies. It's active. It's a female automated with Polish accent voice. This is amazing.
If you are prone to getting obsessed with unraveling mysteries...
Hold on, here's another audio sampling. That's so weird.
Are we gonna do any more modern rogues, or are you just gonna be obsessed with this forever?
No, I'm just gonna dive in. I want to live in the shortwave wonderland. This is incredible stuff. I mean, this is the haunting reality of being connected in a visceral way to the rest of the world. We understand theoretically on the internet that, yeah, I guess we're all talking to each other, but this makes me feel it when you can just tune in and listen to everyone.
This makes me feel that there are dangerous secrets happening all around us at all times.
Yes. Awesome secrets like this.
Didn't we hear this when we used the Ouija board?
Yeah, yes. I could do this all day. I
Yeah.
could do this all day.
Yeah.
Get out! Get out of my basements! I'm moving into shortwave land. I'm gonna get a ham radio license. Call me KDK 512 from now on.
All right, KDK 512. I'm gonna go shoot the rest of the episodes for today.
Bye! A stenographer, a steganographer, and a stegosaurus. F, marry, kill.
Marry the steganographer. Kill the stenographer.
Why?
F the stegosaurus.
You would not have sex with the stegosaurus! I mean, now that I think about it, you're only gonna have the one chance, right? What a cool party trick.
That is a story that no one can ever top. I had sex with a dinosaur.
The modern rogues are enforcing today.
So cryptography is encrypting messages, but when you get a message, you could tell it's encrypted, right?
Yeah, you see all the gobbledygook and you know that there's a code there to be broken.
Right. Steganography is what exactly?
Steganography is where you are hiding the message in such a way that no one even knows there's anything hidden there. No one knows that there's anything to decode. Usually it's in an image or hidden within another file.
So it would be the equivalent of you intercepted a Where's Waldo photo and you never knew that the whole point of the photo was to find Waldo.
Right.
To you, it's like, well, what a weird tableau of people at a fair.
Yeah.
That person's eating a funnel cake.
Yeah, Leonardo da Vinci would put it in his paintings.
Oh, I thought you said Leonardo was painting Waldo.
Leonardo da Vinci
I
did
believe
the
that.
first Where's Waldo.
How far back does steganography go?
Probably forever. But one of the first written examples is from Herodotus. Herodotus tells of a guy named Histiaeus who took one of his servants, shaved his head, wrote a message in it, and then waited for the guy's hair to grow out. And then he sent this guy to his vassal and said, when you get there, shave your head so that this guy can see the message.
In my mind, it's like he's there at a giant feast and all of a sudden, oh, come in, you're the guy, aren't you? Yes, here, let me grab a razor. And he shaves it, and it's just dick butt. He's the first troll.
It says, never gonna give you up.
Yes,
Never gonna let you down.
That's what it should have been. I don't know if this is steganography, but I know that Michelangelo hid like really cool scientific stuff in his paintings. The Sistine Chapel recently verified that the photo of, I think it's God touching Adam's finger or whatever, like the cloth around God is exactly the structure of the human brain, something that nobody had seen unless you were gross enough to go look at a corpse. So it was this kind of coy, pro-science hat tip that he was giving in there. That seems like legit steganography, yeah?
Yeah, and
oh my God, one of my favorite shirts when I was a kid was a cover of the Akira poster, right? Neo Tokyo is about to explode. You see Japan, you see this exploding black explosion on there, and I was wearing it looking down at the city of Japan, and I saw like, that looks like words. And on the tops of it, it said AZ rules. And then I looked at the artist's name, and it was AZ was the initials. This guy had written his own name and a message upside down in a shirt that could only be viewable to the person who was wearing it.
Nice. A lot of it is, I think it's like those Mad magazines where you could take the cover and then fold it in a certain way.
That would be steganography, right?
Right.
Because you think you're just looking at like, I don't know, belly dancing girl, but instead it's scathing indictment of Madonna or something.
Right. So remember those things that were big in the 90s where they would take hundreds of frames of The Empire Strikes Back and put them all together to make a mosaic of Yoda?
Yeah, it used to be that those were designed by real artists, but then computers entered the equation and they were able to color correct and make stuff bright or dark or sift everything. To me, it kind of lost that handmade charm.
What if one of those tiny little frames actually had a hidden message written in it?
Holy cow. Nobody would bother to think there's no decoding of it.
Yeah, that is really the most blatant example, is hiding a message within something physical that you can look at and never know that it's there.
Which, by the way, that's one of the techniques that comes into play with sleight of hand and doing magic, is there's a balance between what we as magicians call signal to noise ratio. If I gave something too simple of a signal, if I just showed a coin and then covered my hand and then revealed the coin gone, that's too clear a signal because you would now know to look at my other hand for the coin. But if you added noise by transferring and telling a story, then that noise camouflages that exact moment that I palmed off the coin and makes it totally invisible.
Precisely. Everything that you need is right there. You just don't know that you're supposed to be looking for it.
So in the 21st century, nowadays, stenography usually is associated with the idea of some secret information, like a data document being embedded in another data document.
Yeah, it's like in the movies whenever someone's looking at a picture on a computer and they say, wait, there's more here.
Yeah, dude, like that scene from Contact, they're like, they're actually Hitler? What?
No, it's not always Hitler.
It was.
Oh, it was Hitler. It
literally was Hitler.
It literally was Hitler. I thought this was you going, it's zombie clones of Hitler.
No, that was a big point in the movie.
Yes.
It was definitely Hitler.
Yes. So there are tons of different methods to actually try this. There is a free utility online called S-Tools. That's S-Tools.
So right here, steganography demo,
Yeah. Okay.
And bada bing bang.
Yep.
Okay, few words before you start. S-Tools embraces many new ways of working that are encouraged by Windows 95.
Yeah.
This is relevant. I thought you said this was 21st century,
like
but I guess not.
Technology. First, we have to pick the image that is going to house the secret.
Oh, we gotta find an image.
Yeah.
Here, let's make something.
Okay, yeah. That's pretty good if a 4-year-old drew the Far Side. In a way.
Did you catch the Gary Larson influence?
Very much so.
So we got this. Let's save as totally normal bitmap. Save to desktop.
I don't think we're worried about the color quality on this.
I think we're fine.
Take that image and just drag it into there.
Totally normal bitmap. Boom. There we go.
Now,
okay. Oh, we got to make a secret file.
we got to make a secret file.
Okay, all right.
So
all right, here
open
we
up
go.
Notepad.
List of things nobody should know that I believe. The prequels were great. The Earth
It's flat.
is flat. There you go. The 13th Doctor should be a girl. I'm actually super stoked about that.
I think that's enough secrets to divulge.
I feel bad though. Like one of these I don't believe. I mean, sorry, two of these I don't believe.
Bryce is a werewolf.
Oh, there you go. Got it. So save as ideas. Got it. So now we grab that and we drag it in, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
just drag it over there.
Yep.
Okay.
And it
now,
says passphrase.
here's your passphrase. Now, this is something that you can't find just by looking at it. You have to send it to someone, and then they will unlock it with S-Tools, and they'll have to know the passphrase.
All right, what should the passphrase be?
Grilled cheese.
Oh. We'll just say attempt color reduction.
Sure.
So
Okay,
now,
hidden data.
and what, we save this somewhere?
Yeah, save as.
Save as
Whatever you want to call the secret file, it defaults to hidden.
super awesome pictures. BMP.
Do .bmp. Let's try that.
Yes.
Yes.
Overwrite it.
Okay, now.
Oh, it shows it now. It shows
Okay.
it now. So now when I double click it, oh, it's just a simple, easy
Got it,
image
got it,
of,
yeah.
of cow butts. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So how do I extract it? Okay, so I send this to you.
You send it to me,
Right.
you email it to me, I open it up, and I'm like, okay, Brian sent me a picture with butts or whatever. But let's say that I open it up in S-Tools because I know that you were sending me something,
Okay,
right?
so real quick, I'm gonna clear out all this stuff as though we're just average Joes.
Yeah, just close it out entirely, right?
Okay, so you get this attachment, super awesome pictures.
Yeah.
So here, we're in Steg.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna drag
you
this
would-
image
Yeah, you would send it to me, I would open it up.
in S-Tools,
In
and it shows it
S-Tools.
like this.
Yeah, now right-click on it.
Reveal!
Yeah, there's an option that says reveal,
Oh, that's great.
and then I would type in grilled cheese, or whatever password
Yeah.
we had agreed upon.
It does. It says revealed files, ideas.txt,
Mm-hmm.
size 162. So if I right click on that, I can save as,
Yeah.
and we can pull it back out. Great ideas encoded. And now, wait for it. Great ideas encoded. And again, it doesn't know what to make of this,
yeah,
so we
yeah,
have to do .txt. And there it is.
There it is, yeah. Now, think about how important this could actually be. We're sending pictures of cow butts and so forth, but think about people using it in oppressive regimes and trying to get secret information out and political dissidents and so forth.
Well, and that's one of the things, is that people think that anybody who hides anything is up to no good. Up to no good is very relative given the current political climate that you are operating underneath. If you're in a place where people are killing your family for the ideas that they have, then this could be extraordinarily useful.
Yeah, you could, oh, it's a picture of a baby, but really, here's the route to escape whatever danger you're in.
Are there any obvious clues that there's something beneath the surface of a JPEG or a video?
There's not really going to be something that jumps out at you, but if you look at a file size that is suspiciously large, there could very well be something hiding in there.
So that's going to indicate that if you're the one encoding everything in there, you want to make sure if it's a JPEG, don't make it 300 megabytes large. Like, let's be smart about what you're up to.
Yeah, or if you compress it too much, someone might ask, why do they compress this simple JPEG?
Yeah, so it's sort of the same rules that get you unnoticed in a crowd of people are what you want to do with your digital files, right?
Exactly, and there's so many different ways to do it. There are ways you can do it in the command window or various tools that you can use online just to hide whatever you want to hide.
So if anybody wants to go down this rabbit hole, just what, do a search for steganography?
Yeah, that's it. You just search for steganography, and there are a lot of websites that collect the various methods you can use.
And just for fun, we turned this episode into an example of steganography. If you're super engaged and you have the patience, the wherewithal, and the know-how, you'll be able to figure out the secret messages, assemble them all together, and you should go on a very short quest with a hopefully rewarding ending. We don't know. We haven't written it yet.
It will kickstart their journey onto the path of enlightenment.
That's not true. That's not. We literally, as we're recording this, have not decided what we're going to do.
Secret knowledge.
No.
You will unlock all of your chakras and become a bodhisattva.
Okay. This is not, this is more of your conspiracy stuff.
Nicolas Cage will find it in the next National Treasure movie.
Okay, that might happen though. I want that on a bumper sticker. It just says, I had sex with a dinosaur. Tripping screams.
Boise. Woo! Boise, Idaho. Ixnay on that, dude.
Oh, really?
I'm sure our search history, particularly my search history, is already on some sort of list. When I asked you if you had flown internationally since we started all this, I was serious.
Oh, like you were pretty sure that they wouldn't have let me.
But no issues at all. You're not like, you don't get sweated down by...
Sweated down? Yeah, they make you dance.
Sweated down. That's not even a phrase.
Some 33 years later, 49.
Sweat him down, Larry. The guy just jogs over you and just drips.
My name is Michael Francis, and I was a former capo regime in the Colombo crime family back in New York, one of the 5 New York Mafia La Cosa Nostra families. My dad was the underboss of the Colombo family. His name was Sonny Francis. My dad was a very highly publicized figure. He was a major target of law enforcement, had a lot of media attention, and I grew up as a result of that actually hating the police, because I loved my father. You know, I always saw them as the enemy, you know, trying to hurt my dad, trying to hurt my family. And originally, my dad didn't want this life for me. He wanted me to go to school, be a doctor. I was on that road until my dad got in some very serious trouble in the 60s. And in 1966, my dad was indicted in federal court for masterminding a nationwide string of bank robberies. After a lengthy trial, he was convicted. 1967, he was sentenced to 50 years in prison. He was shipped off to Leavenworth Penitentiary in Kansas to do his time, and I was a pre-med student, and when my dad went away, I was devastated. He was 50 years old when he went in. Figure he had 50 on top of that, he'd never come out of prison alive. And at that time, Joe Colombo was the boss of our family. He kind of took me under his wing. I started to meet a lot of my dad's friends.
Hi there, how you doing?
I am wonderful.
I am so sorry. That flight is canceled.
No.
Customer incident at the other end.
What? So when is the next flight?
Yeah, they're all kind of full.
I booked this weeks ago. It's my best friend's wedding.
I'm sorry.
I have to get there. I have to.
Okay, let's see what we can do.
Oh, thank you.
I see there's one standby seat on another plane leaving tonight. That's reserved for members of our Prime Flight program. You gotta be a 4.2 or over to qualify.
Oh, I'm a 4.2.
I'm afraid you're actually a 4.183.
Oh. Well, that's not my fault. Some woman dinged me down in the cab. Can't you just...
I'm sorry, it won't let me book it without the correct ranking.
But it's so close.
There's just nothing I can do.
Christ, I mean, surely.
I'm gonna have to ask you to moderate your language then.
Sorry, it's just... I'm maid of honor. I cannot miss this wedding.
And I am so sorry about that.
Can you call the supervisor?
I cannot do that.
Can you just call the supervisor?
I cannot do that.
Call the fucking supervisor.
Okay, that's profanity. We're zero tolerance on profanity.
I'm sorry, it's just...
Yeah, I have to serve the next customer.
No.
Step away, ma'am.
God, just fucking help me!
I'm so sorry. I've called security.
Oh, no, please don't do that. I'm a 5-star in you. 5 stars.
What's the issue here, Hannah?
Intimidation and profanity.
Oh, no, I was not intimidating.
Don't speak, ma'am.
I was just trying to...
Okay, so, in order to restore calm, I'm invoking my authority as airport security to dock you 1 full ranking point as a punitive measure. This is a temporary measure.
No!
The score reverts to normal in 24 hours.
No, but I need it now.
Period. All down votes are subject to a ×2 multiplier.
×2?
We recommend you avoid negative feedback at this time.
I'm on double damage?
Please, remove yourself from the airport immediately.
Finding the right song is one of the most important things in a good edit.